بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. We continue reading from the beginning of guidance بداية الهداية by Imam Al-Ghazali رحمه الله ونفعنا بهم في الدارين آمين. And we have reached the second part of the book. The very last thing that we have read was about the etiquette of fasting. And the second part begins with refraining from disobedience. القول في اجتناب المعاصي. Know that this religion is made up of two parts. One of them is refraining from disobedience, and the other is the performance of acts of obedience. The first part is more important and more serious. The first part, ترك المناهي, is more serious. I think the translating al-ashad, both are serious. Both are very serious. But the Imam Ghazali said, وَتَرْكُ الْمَنَاهِ هُوَ الْأَشَدْ. Ashad is more, it demands more effort. It is more difficult to achieve. And the next line would explain why al-ashad is not exactly that translating it into being more serious or more important is not the issue. هو الأشد. He continues by saying, everyone has the capacity to carry out acts of obedience, but only the truly sincere can abandon their appetites and desires. So you need more effort, resilience, strive harder, and ashad. Thus did the Messenger of Allah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam say, the true immigrant is the one who abandons evil, and the true warrior is the one who fights his passions. This is a sound tradition. We have two texts of the same hadith. Both of them are good. The only word that changes, let's read it in Arabic first. المهاجر من هجر السوء والمجاهد من جاهد هواه. In the second text, rather than من هجر السوء, it's هجر الخطايا والذنوب. One who abandons sins. Okay. Now the true immigrant, just the use of the word immigrant here. An immigrant is someone who moves from A to Z, as we call it. But in general, the immigrant is someone who moves geographically from one place to another. Here it is used allegorically. The true immigrant, the true, the favorable movement is spiritual when you move from the state of sin to non-sin, if you will, to obedience. المهاجر من هجر السوء or الخطايا, evil, sins. And the al-mujahid, I think which this brings us to the etymology of jihad and mujahid, and it's about striving, it's about exerting effort, and we have two words that are crucial in this case. Qital and jihad. These are two key words whereby qital as fighting is, to my knowledge, will be always about. It is not. It is usually not the allegorical, metaphorical notion of jihad. So it's almost like a Venn diagram between both, where sometimes the fighting is a state in a, is jihad, and sometimes it's not. And in this case here, in this hadith, it is striving, fighting against your own passions. And when we talk about passions, we talk about unlawful desires, really. The sins committed with the limbs, of course. Know that you disobey Allah Most High with your limbs, while they are a bounty from Allah. These are blessings from Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Ni'mah. It's a ni'mah and a trust from Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. So you're using the bounties of Allah Most High to disobey Him is the ultimate ingratitude. Ultimate ingratitude. Ghayatul kufran. And you're betraying you're betraying the trust. Is the ultimate ingratitude, and you're betraying the trust. He has placed with you. He has placed with you. Okay. So using the bounties of Allah Most High to disobey Him is the ultimate ingratitude, and you're betraying the trust He has placed with you is the ultimate tyranny. Ghayat Tughyan. Indeed, the parts of your body are your subjects, so pay attention to how you govern them. Each of you is a shepherd, and each of you is answerable for his flock. Now, this, of course, is in the Arabic text. Imam Ghazali mentions this. We know that this is part of a hadith muttafaq alayh, narrated by Al-Bukhari and Muslim, narrated by Abdullah bin Umar. كلكم راع وكلكم مسؤول عن رعيته. فالأمير الذي على الناس راع عليهم ومسؤول عنهم. So the prince here, basically the governor. The prince is the head of state. The prince could also be called a king, who is basically ruling people. He is their shepherd in a sense. He's shepherding in every sense, and he is responsible for them, and he will be answering. He will be answering on the day of judgment. He will be answering for all his subjects, for all the citizens, for all of those. If it's the responsibility of the head of the family to put food on the table, the head of the larger family, the society at large, the state, if you will, is to manage the economy in a way that will, and not only economy, everything, to ensure the welfare of the people. Then the hadith continues, وَالرَّجُلُ رَاعٍ عَلَى أَهْلِ بَيْتِهِ. The man is also caretaker of his family, and he's responsible for them. And a woman is responsible for the house of her husband and his children, and she's responsible for that. And uh, even in this hadith, and the slave of a man is also uh, Israel. Ali Bey said that he's shepherding the household, and he's responsible for that. And then the Prophet ﷺ conclude by saying, indeed, all of you are shepherds, and all of you are responsible for whoever is really uh, under your responsibility. And this is if one thinks about it, it means that everyone in the society is both. From one perspective, there is someone responsible for you, and on the other hand, you are responsible for something. You are responsible for a unit, for something in the society. Uh, it's not really, there's no such a thing as, sometimes people are, they would like to live freely, like the hippies in the 60s or the 70s. Everything is free from responsibility, free from the law, smoking weed and music in the open, and just simply living free. That doesn't work, and it didn't really last. It doesn't work. As every society has laws. Every society has laws. The racial profiling of today at airports in the 70s, it was the hippie who would be basically searched at the time for marijuana or what, maybe heroin. Know that all your limbs will testify against you in the plains of judgment with clear, eloquent speech, as Allah will expose your faults in front of an assembly of creation. Allah Most High says on that day, this is of course from the Quran, on that day when their tongues, their hands, and their feet will testify against them as to what they used to do. يوم تشهد عليهم ألسنتهم وأيديهم وأرجلهم بما كانوا يعملون. يوم تشهد عليهم ألسنتهم وأيديهم وأرجلهم بما كانوا يعملون. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, on this day, we will see their mouths, and their hands will speak to us, and their feet will testify as to what they have earned. اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون. So one does not speak, but every limb will be speaking. The hands, the legs, the hands, what they have earned, the legs, in what direction did they assist? Did they go in the direction of that which is haram? And the hand, did they earn or commit that which is haram? So guard your entire body, especially 7 parts of it. For verily, hell has 7 gates, through each of which a particular group is destined to enter. Remember, there is a gate to paradise, Rayyan. We have just, in the last session, we have read about Rayyan. It's a gate to paradise, designated for those who fast for, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, sincerely. So, good deeds, they have designated gates. Makes sense that certain bad deeds will also mean that they have designated gates to hellfire. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. So, again, so guard your entire body, especially seven parts of it, for verily hell has seven gates, through each of which a particular group is destined to enter, of course. The only ones designated to enter these gates are those who disobeyed Allah Most High by means of these parts, which are the eye, the ear, the tongue, the stomach, the private part, the hand, and the foot. As for the eye, it was created for you only so that you might be guided by it in the darkness. And the darkness, of course, dark times, dark activities, dark surroundings, dark conditions, dark ideologies. Imam Al-Ghazali, in the Ihya, he when he speaks about the struggle between باعث الدين وباعث الهوى. Um, so basically, that struggle, continuous struggle between religion and personal whims and desires and that are against religion. He says that in one instance, in one state of affairs will be that you will win over your own whims and desires, conjectures, and in the second state, it's the other way around. You lose, and here is basically why I'm saying mentioning this, because he said that we submit our hearts to the enemies. Here, enemies, we don't talk about really the battlefield and with the enemies, Satan, okay, but sometimes it could be human beings. As we submit our hearts means we simply accept their way of life, which is contrary to what Allah Subhanahu wa Taala wants us to do. So, if we submit, then we'll be definitely walking in the dark, and definitely we are not using our eyes. That you may be helped with it, with the eye, with respect to your needs, that by it you might see the wonders in the dominion of the heavens and earth, and consider the signs they contain. Whether it's really learning something, or simply when you see the signs, you would glorify Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So simply you say subhanallah. You say subhanallah. All these flowers, the bees, the butterflies, the birds, the beautiful songs of these birds, waterfalls, mountains, except that when we trash the environment and pollute the environment and the but pondering upon the universe, so the eye could be used, and the result will be definitely glorifying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So protect your eye from four things: from looking at a marriageable person of the opposite gender, Remember, a marriageable person is not of the opposite gender. That's not really your interpretation. It's literally anyone that you might one day marry. It could be a woman who is married, but she could become a widow. She's not your daughter, she's not your mom, she's not, okay? Uh, from looking at a beautiful form in a lustful way, beautiful form, we talk about physiognomy, a beautiful face. Number three, from looking at a Muslim with an eye of disdain. Don't disdain. And I think, depending on the context, that's not only the Muslim. We should treat people with the utmost respect, unless there is a clear case of animosity or war. Or and remember the ethics of chivalry. How many times we have mentioned that Salah ad-Din Ayyubi sent his own physician to take care of the king of the Crusaders. And number four, be from being on the lookout for another Muslim's faults. So, in general, to begin with, back to the idea that your limbs, your including the beginning with the eye, because it seems that we rely on the eye more than we rely on anything else to gather information. Use it for that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created it for. And the same thing applies to every other limb. As for the ear, protect it from listening to reprehensible innovations, backbiting, lewd talk, delving into falsehood, or talking about the faults of others. For verily the ear was created for you only to listen to the speech of Allah Most High, to the Sunnah of the Messenger of Allah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, to the wisdom of the friends of Allah. And so that, basically, friends of Allah, the awliya, and so that by it you might gain access to the benefits of knowledge, by which you may reach the eternal dominion and everlasting bounty. In fact, uh, how about listening to uh, beautiful sounds from nature? Because the Quran also mentions وَالطَّيْرُ صَافَّاتٍ كُلٌّ قَدْ عَلِمَ صَلَاتَهُ وَتَسْبِيحَهُ in the context of Sayyidina Dawood alayhi salam, Prophet David, يا جبال أوبي معه والطير. So there are things to listen to, and they are not reprehensible, and these are also amongst the signs. So there are beautiful images in nature that we can look at. There are beautiful sounds in nature that we can listen to, and there are beautiful smells in nature that we can also smell. Each one of them is We talk about the senses, if you will. So if you use it using the ear, so if you use it to listen to something disliked, then what was in your favor will be against you. And what was meant to be a reason for your success will become a reason for your destruction. This is the ultimate loss. Also, do not think that the sin will be attributed only to the one who speaks it, and not to the one who listens. For verily it is said in a narration, truly the listener shares in sin with the speaker, and he is one of the two backbiters. Uh, the meaning is definitely uh, sound. The chain of narrators is weak, and the message is about the meaning. Don't be party to backbiting. And also, uh, the meaning here is that uh, let's again ولا تظنن أن الإثم يختص به القائل. Don't say that, well, he said, and you were simply present when backbiting took place. You have to defend. You have to stop it. You have to defend the brother who is not there, or the sister for the sake of the argument. Uh, and this is really something that really breaks the heart. And this is, people think that it is, and it is really backbiting as an action. You are not really climbing a mountain. You just open your mouth and it's backbiting. It's easy, but it's destructive. أيحب أحدكم أن يأكل لحم أخيه ميتا فكرهتموه. This is, of course, when we get to the tongue, the next one. Uh, but you definitely, there's plenty of. Let's remember that there is plenty of beautiful halal areas, signs in the universe, natural phenomena that you can basically uh, either look at, listen to, enjoy it in a pure halal way. There is no need for the ear to be listening to backbiting or nonsense. As for the tongue, it was created for you only so that you could spend much time in the remembrance of Allah Most High and the recitation of His book, that you could guide Allah's creatures to His way, and that you express your needs in worldly and religious matters. If you then use it for other than what it was created for, you have been ungrateful for Allah's blessing. The tongue is the part of the body most able to overpower both you and other creatures. It is described as a weapon with two blades, because it could be basically pointed towards other people. It's allegorically speaking, it's pointed towards other people, but at the same time, it's pointed towards you. Either you say something good, or basically you are injuring yourself. Then here, Imam Al-Ghazali uses part of a hadith sahih. He says, people are not thrown into hell on their faces or for anything more than the harvest of their tongues. This hadith is sahih, but it's part of a larger tradition, of course, in which the Prophet ﷺ explains to Sayyidina Mu'adh bin Jabal that he, in that part of the hadith, he asked him to control his tongue, to hold his tongue. And then Sayyidina Mu'adh bin Jabal exclaims that, are we responsible for what we say? Are we held accountable for what we say? And then the Prophet ﷺ responded by saying, Takalatka ummuka ya Mu'adh. وهل يكب الناس في النار على مناخهم? There are two different words, both of them are sound, because thrown into hell on their faces or their noses, and both of them are sound, and the result is the same. Yeah, punishment and also being thrown on the face is humiliating, and that only as a harvest of what they say, harvest of their tongues. Struggle to gain victory over your tongue with all your might. Lest it throw you into your face in a pit of hell, for it has been narrated in a hadith, verily a man might utter a single word, and for this one word he is hurled to the depths of hell, a distance of 70 years. And again, there's a hadith in which basically one word also could be accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and will raise you in paradise. A martyr was killed in battle, and someone said of him, how lucky he is, he has earned paradise. The Prophet ﷺ said, how do you know? It might be that he used to speak of that which did not concern him, or was miserably over things which were of no benefit to him anyway. Okay. The hadith is not about shaheed. There's a text of a hadith which is really about tamarid, as a sick person, because as the scholar said, this cannot be about the shaheed. There is a hadith narrated by Imam Muslim in which the Prophet ﷺ said, الشهيد يغفر له كل شيء إلا الدين, that the martyr will be forgiven everything except debt, because this is something that you owe to people, narrated by a Muslim. So in this case, if you know the talking about that which does not concern you, كان يتكلم فيما لا يعنيه, and he does not spend from that which does not really benefit him, does not really enrich him. So it's not about the shaheed, really. I think this is important to mention. Next, we have the details about the protection of the tongue. Protect your tongue from 8 things, and that we'll begin reading this tomorrow, inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.